Jai Gurudev, everybody, welcome back. So today is the last day of the Satsang COVID-19 series. and of course, every week you will have Satsang on Tuesday and Thursdays, and also Japam will be Tuesday and Thursdays. That doesn't mean that you stop doing your Japam, or you stop listening to the Satsang. So you see, you have listened to the satsang, and now it's time to try to practice it. And also one thing is that, you see, it's beautiful to listen. Now you have this rhythm, now that every day, at a certain time, you sit and wait for the satsang. So try to keep it. If you are free, you are not working, try to keep it. Otherwise, just do your japam. Just remember the name of God wherever you are, and join us also, and also inspired others to join and chant the name of God. And funny, today I got some news. Some days ago in America, one policeman killed a man, and it was atrocious actually, when you see how sometimes people don't think, when they act, then after that later on regret. But it's funny to see what is happening to this world, really. Not only there, you see in Europe also, people are revolving, and seeing that what is happening, in the mind of people. And you see, people have kept so much inside of them; they have not said anything. And now, of course, everything is coming up. So it is a time that, of course, it is, you have the COVID-19, you have the violence which is happening into the world, and you see also nature, in India there is fire, forest fire, and you have cricket, how to say, plagues, which is eating everything, and today there's snakes also. You see, nature is also showing that there must be some change into the mind of people. That's what Bhagavan Krishna has said always, But when you read the Gita, you see clearly that without changing, firstly yourself, you can't expect outside to change. If you still hold upon, your negativity which is inside of your mind, you will never be free from that. You see that in people. And you see the unhappiness, in spite of being happy, take the time to grow and really re-educate yourself how to become a human being. They act in a very opposite way now. So this is a time that you have to pray a lot, that God protect you and protect your family and your people, also your country, protect this world also. Because you see, the negativity is so easy. It's very difficult to become positive. Positiveness is like a tree, but it takes years and years to grow, and you have to hold it, you have to keep it, sustain it, but it don't fall back again. But you see, negativity, how quickly it is. It's like you have grown this tree for so long, and in 1 second, the mind can destroy all this goodness, cut down the tree. Just like somebody with a chainsaw, in a few seconds can just cut down that tree of positiveness. So you have to be always on the guard and alert, and how your mind is, But if you let that dirt into that mind, then it will get polluted, and then it will become crazy. Sometimes you have, God have given the mind for people to reason. So use your reason in the right way. And center yourself into that positiveness, Because you see, positiveness is it's a very powerful, not weapon I would say, it's a very powerful force which you have. You know? It is like, you see, you are sitting in a darkness, you know. It's like, for example, imagine you are sitting in a dark room, completely dark. Just there is a small, tiny hole of light coming inside. That tiny hole of light will give you hope. You know, it will give you strength. That light itself that you perceived in that tiny speck, you know, that tiny hole of light, you know, it is very powerful. So like that, you know, even if the mind of people become darkness outside, you have to use your reason to be positive in your life. Dear
Guruji, we need to overcome the three gunas, our feelings and emotions. But at the same time, we must build a relationship with God based on feelings and emotions. So, do we first build a relationship using those feelings and then go beyond those feelings? Could you please explain more?
Now you're using words. Yeah, when we look at that feeling, yeah, when one said this feeling is not bad in reality, you know, he's not saying that that feeling that you have for him, you know, it's not a bad feeling because it is bound by eternal things, you know. So very often, you know, it's not going beyond this feeling. It's like, let this feeling itself grow. The feeling, you know, people feel so many things, you know, when you have different kind of feeling which you feel to do something, let's say, into the world outside, which bring limited joy to you. That kind of feeling, of course, once it's fulfilled, it is gone. Here Bhagavan is saying, no, you don't need to have that kind of feeling. Your feeling must be exalted, you know, must be the grand, you know, something supreme, you know? So you don't let go of that feeling in reality. You just transform it and turn it towards the divine itself. You know? So when we see, you know, when we take that and see clearly, you know, in Bhagavad, you know, Canto 10, chapter 14, verse 36, where Bhagavan Krishna when it is said, you know, the Lord, you know, one which is not yours, you know, those which is not yours, all the material desires are like thieves. It's so beautifully explained, you know, it's like thieves. And their house is like a prison, and their attachment are like shackle to the feet. Now, when we see that verse itself, you know, then he said, okay, you see, here you don't say that material desire is wrong, you know, he is giving everything. But the disproportionate clinging to these desires, you know, that's what brings the cancer of the mind. And that is the sickness, that's what brings agony. You see, in what he's saying that, look, desires, you know, it is there due to some samskaras, you know, you have had many things. Also, desires can be like we said, desire for something which is supreme. It is exalted, you know, it is, you need it, because that's what inspired you to move forward. You know? So let's say you have a certain desire to make money. It is not wrong, you know, but it is not wrong because that inspired you to create things, to move forward, to save, to earn. And it gives you this push into your life to move forward. But when you go beyond that, you know, when you cling to that desire itself and want more and more, greediness arises inside of you. So when greediness arises inside, you know, then anxiety, fear, worry, you know, depression, all these things will arise. So you see, Bhagavad Gita didn't, when you talk about desire, it said desire is not a bad thing, but the yearning for desire, that's what is the problem. You know? So in your question, you see, it is beautifully put, actually. You know? How you say, we must have that feeling and then let go of that feeling. But he don't tell you to let go of that feeling. It's that where that feeling is the focus upon. You know, that what is important. If that feeling is focused on the Supreme, on the feet of the Guru, that's fine. You know, you don't need to get rid of that feeling. You know, but if that feeling is a desire which is which will bring you pain and unhappiness and misery, that's what you should not hang upon that. You know, that's why it is said, those who have not surrendered to you. Here it's classified in Bhagavad. It is said, those which is not surrendered to you. But those who have surrendered to the feet of Guru and God, it's a different matter. They have to have that deeper understanding of everything is a gift from the divine itself. You know. So those who have not surrendered to you, who have not attained to your grace, for them, the material desire is like a thief. You know, it's like these desires are never satisfied. It will always snatch you away from the reality. It will always give you unrestful mind. You know? So your mind will not be focused upon the divine. You know? Because you see, let's take an aspect of in that part itself. A thief is never satisfied of what they have. It's always thinking, I want more and more and more. So in that context, you see, the material desire act into a state that will keep one never free, never at peace, never calm. You know? And even the Krishna said, you know, the house is like the house is like a prison. So the house can be beautiful. You know, here he said that, yes, the house is not the physical house, it's this body itself, you know. So due to this unrest into the mind, because you see, when you have so much crazy desires inside, you will be never calm. So you will be in a state of, nervosity. So that house, that physical body, that temple of God for the devotees, and for those which is not surrendered to the God, that become an object of like a prison. You are never at peace with yourself. You have to always move. You see that, you know, in people which doesn't, they are not happy. They always want to create problem for others. They always want to, try to make other people being unhappy. You know, they have to always do something which is negative in itself. But because they themselves are bound by these desires, you know, it's like a shackle. They are not free from it. You know, like a slave which is shackled to the feet, which chains, you know, it's pulling them down. So like that, you see, when your feeling is turned towards the outside world, you know, you are never free. You know, you have to always do some things to be acknowledged. You know, you have to be always doing something for people to praise you, to see you. You know, you see that very, very much in people who is very egoistic people. You know, when people are very egoistic, they always like to do things to be seen. You know, they will give charity, but they want their name to be printed. They want their name, the eulogy to be sang about them, how great they are, what they have done. You see, they always want to be seen. They will do things that they will not do things that people will not see. They will do things always to bring the attention of the public toward them. So this is this kind of feeling that Bhagavan Krishna said one should avoid. You know? One should keep away from that, because that is entangling oneself deeper and deeper into this world of delusion. But those who surrender to me, they attain to a greater perfection. So he said, this when your feeling is towards something which is to the divine, you know, which is eternal, it is not wrong. because that feeling itself will liberate you. That feeling itself will free you. That feeling itself will be the fullness of everything, fulfill all your wishes. This feeling itself will bring the divine to you itself, you know. Now, there was once a princess, actually, she, Katyayani, her name, she was an incarnation of one of the gopis, actually. So she was born to the king of Bengal. So for her, she was always absorbed in singing the name of the Lord and praising the Lord. For her, the mind was always absorbed in that. So nobody could understand her. For in her mind was only Krishna, nothing else. And with time, people start to recognize what she have. First, they could not understand her, just like Mirabai, they could not understand her. They would think that there is a mental problem with that person, because that person, you see, a soul which is so great, they don't perceive this world of matters, you know. They are not attached to this world of matter, but they are attached to the divine itself. And for them, that's the only aim, you know. So like it said, you know, in Bhagavad it said that the devotee of the Lord are the one which is the one which liberate, you know, the fallen soul, you know, which help the fallen soul to arise. So like that, Katyayani ji also, she was so absorbed into her bhav and the love for Krishna that she will be liberating all the people which were around her. So she will be the inspiration for everybody. Such was her bhakti for Bhagwan that Lord Krishna himself will come to enjoy the singing of her. Lord Krishna will come and serve her and look after her. This was her relationship. Like that, you see, so many great souls, you know, have attained to that state of perfection itself, attained to that supreme darshan of Bhagwan, just by their feeling centered onto the right tune, yeah, and that is the tune which we all have to dance into. You know, when Lord Krishna is playing the flute, you know, why do you think he's playing the flute? He said, oh, look, let your mind be attuned to that tune, you know, so that you can be back to your true self, to be back to who you are. Otherwise, this world will drag you. Then you will never, it will take a longer time, you know, because you see, God gives always opportunities in one's life to attain Him. And if He have given you this opportunity in this life, there is no point of looking left, right, you know. Just let this feeling rise beyond your comprehension itself. So then you can attain Him. So there's nothing of letting go. It's just tune it to the right direction. So.
Guruji, how important is it to follow the steps of puja precisely? If we have love for God, is it really necessary to strictly do all the ritual steps correctly?
Look, as long as you have said love for God, you know, people use this word very often as an excuse for not being disciplined with themselves. This I have seen that so many times, you know. Even here in the ashram, there is many who said, oh, you know, we have love for God, that is enough, you know, we don't need to really follow strictly the rules. And from my point of view, you know, if you have love for God, this is actually the most important thing to do everything most proper, because you want to express yourself in a better way. towards him, you know. And of course you have to be disciplined into that. I know your question is you don't want to hear that answer what I'm saying, because you know, you would have like an answer that said, oh yeah, if you have love for God, that's it, you don't need to do anything, you can just sit under a tree and then do whatever. No, it's not true. Because you see, to perfectionate that love, you know, firstly, when you're talking about the love of God, you know, the love of God is a consuming love. You know, like the, you know, when we look at the great saints, you know, when their love is burning their heart, you know, but they can't even live a second without his thoughts, you know. So this is that kind of love. Then you can say yes, then the steps of prayers change, you know. If you have that kind of love, but which I have not seen really in people yet, I have met very, I say, maybe 1 or 2 person in my whole life who have such intense love and devotion for God like this, you know. For them, of course, they don't need to follow the, I say, the rules of doing pujas, you know. And because actually they do follow the rules of doing pujas, you know, even if for them they don't need to, but they do it even better, like I said, you know. It is much, they are an inspiration for others, you know. But very often is the lazy people who use that word, you know, said, oh yeah, I have love for God and I don't need to do all these things, you know. And they don't want to do the sadhana. They said, yes, I believe in God and I love him, I don't need to do all these things. Or, you know, he will save me, doesn't matter, you know, I don't need to do anything. Yeah, just go and tell this to your partner, you know, and tell to your partner, I love you, but I don't want to express my love to you. From now on, you live your life, I live my life the way I want. We will see how much that love will grow, you know. And you have to understand, puja is an expression of our relationship to the divine. We express ourselves. It's not that God need, our prayer to him. Do you think God need you to praise him? You know, how great he is, all those things? No, he don't. He's not an egoistic person, you know. So he's not bound by that, you know. So he don't need our praise, you know. But what he needs is our love, our dedication to him. That's what he would like to see in us, you know. So very often you see people who take this as a excuse, you know, for not doing their prayer. Their prayer. They don't want to be disciplined. They don't want to follow the rules, you know, because it's easy life if you don't want to follow the rules. No, if you don't want to follow, okay, you know, if you want to do this puja, this is how it have to be done. If you don't want to follow it, you say, okay, yes, I believe in God. That's it, and I go with my life, you know. So like that, you see, lots of people, either they say they believe in God or they don't believe in God, you know, they go on with their life and live a normal life. But those who are dedicated into that, let's say you are following a certain lineage or sampradaya, you know, so then it is important to abide and perfectionate yourself into that. Then you will not see it as a burden. I will not see it as, because, you know, for you to ask this question, it means that you are seeing the prayers, you know, the steps of prayers as a burden, you know. So then it seems that you don't want to follow. It's just, yeah, okay, fine, I believe in God and I love him, that's it. No, but it's not. If you want to express yourself, if you want to dedicate yourself into that, you know, and if you are doing your puja, then of course, if you're doing the puja, then you better do it properly. So it's better to do something properly than just doing it not proper. So if you are doing it, do it proper. If you are not doing it, it's better you don't do. You know? So don't find an excuse for not doing something proper. And that you can see clearly, you know, very often, you know, when you call a priest to your house, you know, let's say a pujari come and do your prayers. In the Hindu tradition is like this, you know. They have different tariff, you know, for prayer, you know. you have a prayer, short time prayer, it costs that much. A bit longer will cost that much. And so if they are doing a business with God, so you see, that is not the state of a devotee. A devotee state is to please the divine in whatever we do, and do it perfectly. We have to give our best always when we worship, and we have to use the best things when we worship the divine. We have to give our full attention to him when we worship him. So not just say I believe in him and I love him, that's it. That is not the way of this is for lazy people. They can follow that. And like I said, if you are doing something, it's better you do it properly. If you can't do it properly, then it's better you don't do it than just doing it superficially. So in that context, yes, when you are dedicating it to your puja, do it properly.
Jai Gurudev Guruji, can you describe a little bit what happens to a person who becomes a saint? What happens to their mind, their ego, their body, etc.?
Look, firstly, you have to understand, when somebody becomes a saint, they don't live the life for themselves. They live the life for God. Their life have what firstly you have said, what happened to their mind. So their mind have transcend the normal reality. So their mind is not flickering, like in Bhagavad Gita, chapter, I can't remember. They're not coming. So Bhagavan Krishna said in the Gita, those the yogi's mind, it's like a flame which is placed in a windless place. It doesn't flicker, because the yogi's mind is centered upon the soul itself. So such is the state of a saint mind. It doesn't flicker around. So the mind is fully absorbed into the divine. So then when we look at that verse from the Gita itself, you see clearly what Bhagavan Krishna is saying. So when we look at a flame, for example, you all have seen a flame, the light of the flame. When we look at it just like that, it appeared beautifully, it appeared solidified, and the shape, everything is nicely, but the tip of the flame is always flicker. So the tip of the flame is flickering so fast that it gives an illusion that it is not flickering. Only by observing that tip of the flame, you will see. You can do that at home and see it by yourself, but the tip is always flickering. So here Bhagavan is saying that using that verse itself, you see clearly that he is saying that mind of a yogi, the mind of a saint, doesn't flicker around. It doesn't move, jumping from one thought to the other. It's not say today is like this, tomorrow is like this. Very often you see that in many people. People's mind is like this. People's mind, they always, when their mind is satisfied with what they have, and there are even people which on the spiritual path itself, where the mind is, feel good about it, all is fine. But the moment there's someone do something that they are not happy about, you see how their mind change into judgment, criticism, and attacking that person. And very often you see that in devotees itself, But in the saints, you don't see that, because the saints will not let their mind judge and criticize others. So their mind is fully stable. And the mind don't jump into the outside reality thinking that this world is my happiness. No, because they center into the self, they center into the divine, the mind is fully absorbed into the God consciousness. So that mind have transformed. The mind don't run onto the outside. The mind have journeyed inside. So they have taken an inward journey. So inside their journey inside, they don't want to venture outside. So that mind of a saint, it is in the state of happiness. Now, even if they don't express it, sometimes some saints are very stern in themselves, but they don't want to show it. Sometimes they will behave crazy in the outside, because they don't want to show their divinity. They don't want to show the state to which they have attained to. And then the second part is what happened to their
body.
To their body. Of course, you see, like I said, well, the body is of course made of the elements itself, but the body of a saint, because they have attained to God consciousness within them, they have had the divine revelation or the divine darshan inside of them. So due to that darshan inside of them, every part of their body is energized with the divine itself. So every part of the body become sanctified by the grace of Bhagavan himself. So that's why when you touch the feet of the saints, firstly you always ask Maharaj, if I can touch your feet, because you don't know at that moment which kind of energy the saint can release, and that can be also fatal for you. That happened once in there's a saint in Maharashtra called Tempe Swami. Once there was a lady, a devotee, he was somewhere, and a devotee came to him, said, Maharaj, I want to touch your feet, At that moment, Tempe Swami said to her, no, but tomorrow you can touch my feet. But before you touch my feet, so bring some grain, some cereal, and tomorrow when you come, you bring some cereal. So she was very happy. The next day, when she went to visit Tempe Swami, so Tempe Swami said, before you bow down to my feet, put the cereal on my feet. So what they did, she did what Tempe Swami asked her to do. At that moment, when she put that grain on the feet of Tempe Swami, they all start to pop like popcorn, So they start popping like popcorn everywhere. Such was the energy which Tempe Swami was seated into. His whole body was full of this energy itself. So imagine that lady will have touched the feet of Tempe Swami, and unknowingly, for sure, that could be a very big current of energy, which maybe that person itself could not hold upon. That's why, whenever one goes to the saints, before touching the saints' feet and all this, one asks for permission. So afterwards, Tempe Swami gave her the blessing to touch his feet. And of course nothing happened, because then he have that control. Because when the saints dwell into the samadhi state, the whole body is full of bliss. From the toe to the head itself is just in a blissful state, enjoying that connection with the Supreme Lord. So this is like a very high voltage of energy, which the saint hold inside of them. So that's why you see in many tradition, many culture, we venerate even when a saint pass away. You know, when even the saint soul have leave the body, we have great respect for that body. We have samadhis of the saint. It's not because God is not present. No, we honor them because they have attained to that state where the body itself generate the grace of the Lord itself. That's why the saint also just touch somebody. The saint can give that blessing to the people. Like it said, you know, for example, the body of Hanumanji, you know, when we say Hanumanji's hair on his body, each hair, if taken out, vibrate the name of Ram. So imagine the hair itself vibrate the name of Ram. What kind of energy does that body have inside of him? So, you know, there was another Christian saint, you know, Saint Zenia. Like I said to you earlier, you know, many saints, they don't like to show their state where they have they have reached, you know. So due to that, sometimes they behave crazy, you know. So you have seen, for sure, a few weeks ago, I was talking about Bhama Kepa from Tarapit also, you know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you know. Like that, you have many saints who have that great blessing, but their body, you know, is not the same as stay the same as a normal person, but they have a very intense and very powerful vibration. So Saint Zenia also, she lived in St. Petersburg, you know, and she was married, and then her husband died, and she met I think one saint, and the saint told her to live into the world, but praise God always, you know, sing of the name of God, you know. And of course, she excelled into her spirituality. And because she excelled into her spirituality, she have great, power inside of her. But she didn't want people to see her, because you see, people are always attracted to this kind of being, you know. It's like, of course, it's a normal thing, you know. People want these saints to fulfill their wish, or to fulfill their prayer, or to heal them, and so on. But she didn't want that. So she behaved crazy, like a mad woman. So she would wear the clothes of her deceased husband, and goes around, and she would be crazy, but people would spit on her, beat her, but she didn't have any bad feeling towards anybody. So it so happened in summer, as in winter, she will just dress with the thin clothes, nothing else, you know. So in winter, of course, you know, in Russia it's very, very cold. Sometimes it can go to minus 50. So it was that night there was lots of snow, and somebody was by their window looking outside. They saw that there's a light there, and they was wondering, what is this light? So he went and to check what is this light in the middle of the snow. And as he was approaching, he saw that it is Zenia. Her whole body she was not even on the ground, she was levitating in the air. Her whole body was radiating light. And the moment she saw him coming, she just came down and started running like a mad woman into the forest. So you see, those who create an attachment to the Lord, you know, those who attach themselves to God, not only their mind transform into divine, but also the body, the intellect, you know, everything in them become divine in itself. So, Jai Gurudev. No, there's one more. Okay, I forgot always.
We are encouraged to do introspection for our spiritual growth, but sometimes we are still unaware of delusional about our shortcomings. Is there a way to find out if we are fooling ourselves? And how can we get the desired result from introspection?
Sorry, can you repeat it? That's a long question over my head.
Sometimes we are not aware of our shortcomings even though we do introspection, and we are sometimes delusional. So is there a way to find out if we are fooling ourselves and being delusional? And how can we get the desired result from introspection in general?
Look, introspection is very important. And of course, like I said so many times, very often people become delusional because they have too much self-confidence into themselves. Firstly, when we are talking about ourselves, yesterday even the question was saying, how should we trust about self also, But firstly, we have to know who is this self, firstly, what we call ourselves. Is it this mind which makes us believe what we know of ourselves, what we know this is ourself, or the one which resides within is ourself? Have we ever seen that self? Have we ever been in contact with that self? That mind has this mind perceive that self, So firstly, this is important. When you're doing introspection, you have to ask this question: who are you? Firstly, get to know who you are. Which one you are calling the self? Are you calling the intellect the self? Are you calling the mind the self? Are you calling the body the self? These are all illusion. This is not who you are. And as long as you attach to these three things, you will never get to know who you truly are. Because the one which resides inside, which energizes this body, mind and intellect, without it, you will never be alive. So that's why they was explaining about sometimes, when people talk about themselves, they praise great eulogy about themselves, great praise about themselves, but yet they don't know who they are. So get to know firstly, who are you? And get to know, this is a four fundamental question, where you come from, because life can't just happen randomly. You must have come from somewhere. Here again, when I'm talking about you must have come from somewhere, is what is your journey? And why are you here, really? Because that journey has bring you here into this world. This is an introspection. And what is your aim, really? What is your goal in life itself? If that full question is answered, then there will be clarity inside of you. If that full question is not answered, then they will tell you just be happy. So then they will tell you just enjoy what you have. Then you don't need to do much things. So this is a delusional state. Because very often people take spirituality as something. They think that the spirituality is not deep at all. Actually, it is very deep in itself. And spirituality is not this fanciness what you see on the outside very often, because nowadays people want everything, to be easy. And they said, okay, we just do introspection. What do they call introspection? They just go into their mind and think of the day and analyze a little bit, which is good, and that's it. No, introspection means to perceive something that you don't want to see, and see it and change it. It's not just to see how was your day and then observe how many times you have done good, how many times you bad things have happened, how many times you got angry and all this stuff. This is good to see, because this is the first step how you change yourself and bring certain changes in you. But if that is not, there, that clarity of what you want to achieve, of course, then you will be in delusion. So firstly, like I said, when you're doing introspection, for not being in delusion, the aim must be clear. For the devotees, for example, if they are doing self introspection, the aim is to never let go of the feet of Guru and God. So first, doesn't matter what happened, however you are, you have to see, however you are, Guru and God will always love you. You can be you can tomorrow become the biggest criminal. The love of the Guru and God will never change for you, because the Guru and God don't look at you from the external point of view. You may look at yourself from the external point of view, but Guru and God don't look at you in the external point of view. They look at you from an internal point of view, which you very often don't perceive to yourself about that. So start to look from the point of view of your heart. Now start to look from the point of view of your feeling. When you start to look from the point of view of your feeling, then the heart will open up. More you adventure into that heart, more you will see that there is a whole universe inside of that heart. And this universe is not bound by any limitation. It is unlimited. So if you journey into that unlimitedness, blissful state, then you will not fall into delusion. But if you see, you do your self-inspection, and yet you see that you fall back again and again into anxiety, worry, fear, depression, then there is something wrong you are doing. So then you are not doing self-inspection, you are just doing something to make you feel good about. And of course, that clarity of what is your journey and what is your path and what is your aim will not have that power itself. So when you do self-introspection, put always the aim first. What is the aim now? So the aim is to attain the feet of God, the feet of Srimad Narayana. So if that is clear, then observe yourself, but don't get attached to anything. Not even the good things you should get attached to. Like I was saying in the verse from the Gita, Krishna says the verse of the flame itself, you see, the yogi's mind is not flickering around. The mind is fully absorbed into the self. So here the self, when we talk about the self, we are talking about Krishna himself, So when the mind is fully absorbed on Krishna, then there is no falling back into delusion. Jai Gurudev.